Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week is episode 100. We have finally made it, which is insane to think 100 of these episodes has now been done, and obviously there's been some gaps in between, there's been some drops that haven't happened, so it's not been consistent every single week, but it's been pretty damn close, which I think is insane. So yeah, episode 100, and I've tried to make it a bit special with, as always, a nice variety of watches, but some heavy hitters as well as something really interesting as well. This week you're going to see an AP Offshore Titanium, not our usual thing at Kibble Watches, but we're going to try a few of the more interesting, slightly higher price range, slightly different kind of watches, especially now the market has, softened a bit, to be honest, on these pieces. It means they can now be had at very good prices, in my opinion, for what they are. We've got some great Grand Seikos, we've got an amazing Zenith Chronomaster, can't wait to show you. We've got my Brunswick Brown 1 of 5 over there, which is going to be coming for sale. A really nice 1675. There's just a great selection on the table, and there was more. So there's 12 on the table. There was 15. But we have sold 3 of those watches already. So a big thank you to you guys and girls who have purchased those. You know who you are. And last week's drop was amazing as well. Went really well. A lot sold. So thank you all very much. And I suspect this week is going to be pretty similar. So let's get on with it. But before we do that, let's have a look at what's on wrist. I am wearing my I think I was wearing this last episode. I'm wearing my Rolex Oyster Date Precision. Sorry, this is a manually wound 6694, so a 4-digit pre-quickset reference on its original rivet bracelet, and this one is from 1969 with its box and paperwork and original purchase receipt. This is not for sale, this is staying with me. For how long, I don't know. I'd like to think it's going to be with me for a long time, but I thought the Brunswick would be as well, and it has been with me for a long time, to be fair, but you just never know how the collection's going to change up. And also, right now, this is a buyer's market, and you're hearing that said a lot, but what's reflecting that is us as dealers are buying a lot as well. You're seeing some of the stock that we're bringing to the website. It's getting insane, and we really are pushing the boundaries of what we would usually stock, which is exciting as well. But that's because prices are now reflective and looking good, in our opinion. The prices we can purchase at and the prices we can sell some of these watches at, it makes a lot more sense in this market, personally. So, yeah, exciting things to come. Really great drop for you guys and girls. I think you're all going to really enjoy, but that's enough of the rambling. I think let's crack on with what you're here to see. And we're going to start with, no surprise, the AP Offshore Titanium Chronograph, a really incredible watch that surprised me. So let's take a closer look at this one. Okay, so what a watch to begin episode 100 of this week's watches. This is a really awesome Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph Offshore in titanium. So what you're looking at is all titanium. In construction, you have the rubber cad on the bezel and on the pushers and the crown, as you can see. Date over there at 3 o'clock with a reverse cyclops on the inside on the dial itself, which is really interesting. A beautiful dial. You've got black filled lume and hands, and obviously the free chronograph layout. Really cool looking watch. This watch is virtually, is lightly worn, to be honest. A couple of hairline scratches here and there, but nothing major at all. I'm not going to bore you with the reference. This one is super long. You can see it on the on the website. And beating away inside is the Audemars Piguet caliber 3126/3840, an automatic movement. And this one's from September 2011 with its box and paperwork plus its original purchase receipts, which are included as well. And as I say, just very lightly worn, all links included. A nice titanium deployment clasp, as you can see, which is friction fit, so that all just snips down and you pull it open like so, depending on how you find it easiest to get in, but they're quite tight, but once you've got it open, it's good to go, as you can see. Nice case back stating everything on there as well, including the serial numbers, as you'd expect, but just a very interesting reference. Now, these are called 42mm, and when we show it on wrist, you'll see it's a big watch. This is by no means a small watch, but with the titanium, it wears very well and is actually quite comfortable. However, they do wear bigger than 42. Do keep that in mind. It's more like a 44, 45mm, to be honest with you, but AP measure it as 42. But they show it on wrist and tour dimensions. Here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist, as you can see. There you go. It gives you a good idea of the size. Again, by no means a small watch, but then again, the Offshores always have been big, and that's kind of the point of them. So, 42 mil, which is more like a 44, 45 to be honest with you, by 53.5 mil lug to lug, 14 mil thick, and 27.5 mil on the lugs, tapering down to the clasp for a very comfortable fit. But a very interesting watch, and again, the prices of where these are based for a condition and set like this, I think is fair now. I think it makes more sense than where it was before. So go check out this watch on the website today. From there, let's go over to Rolex, and we're going to go over to the 1675 Pepsi bezel, a really lovely example, Mark II dial, just really clean, really nice, and you can't go wrong, to be honest. It doesn't have its bracelet, but that's reflected in the price, and bracelets can be had, so it's not the end of the world. But let's take a closer look at this one. So next up is a Rolex GMT Master. This is a vintage Pepsi GMT, the 1675, a great reference. 4-digit, which means it's pre-quick set and pre-quick setting of the GMT hand is actually coupled to the hour hand. So no matter where you go, as I'll demonstrate, it is connected. So it will forever show GMT or your local time within a 24-hour period. So that's something to keep in mind with these older 4-digit references. As you can see, really nice original matte Mark II dial. Dial on there, and you've got original tritium hands. This is a service Rolex Pepsi bezel, and it doesn't come with a bracelet. We paired it on this nice strap tailor suede. As most of you will know, I'm a big fan of the suede. So as I say, reference 1675, inside is the automatic Rolex caliber 1570, and this reference is from circa 1972, so a nice early reference, as I say, with its original Mark II matte dial. The case has been polished obviously over the years, but it's still relatively good. It's not over polished. You've still got some lines and you've still got some thickness to those lugs. I have seen far worse over the years, but this is just a nice, clean, original example. And it's just honest. You know, you can pick up a later Jubilee bracelet relatively cheaply that would fit this reference as long as you get the right end links, and you're all good to go if you like that look. But to be honest, on a strap, I think it looks really good, and again, it just brings the price down slightly compared to on a bracelet, so you are getting yourself a nice good deal. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. This is where the 4-digit just really shines for me at 40 mil. I think it just works so perfectly on the wrist. 40 mil by 47 mil lug to lug, only 12 mil thick and 20 mil lugs. So endless options for strap pairings, obviously drilled lug holes to make strap changes a breeze. But for me, I think this combination really works, really makes the colours pop. And again, just amplifies that tritium dial and tritium handset, which is so perfectly aged. And the dial is absolutely gorgeous as well. So go check this one out on the website today. From there to the latest Rolex Air King. This is a 2022 model. It's with the crown guards. Some of you guys and girls really love it with the crown guards. Some of you can't stand it. I think it's quite interesting. It's like one or the other. There doesn't seem to be many neutral people on this reference. I quite like it. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up is the Rolex Air King. This is the only Rolex, surprisingly, with the green and the gold as seen in the Rolex logo itself. So if you go to the Rolex shop or any boutique and look up at the Rolex logo and the branding and the colours, that's exactly how it looks. And this is the only watch really with that, which I find quite interesting, to be honest. For one thing, that makes it an interesting watch. Now, this is the latest model with crown guards added to the case. It seems to be a sticking point for a lot of people. Some people really dislike that. Some people don't really care. I'm of the opinion it doesn't really matter to me personally. I think I slightly prefer the one without the crown guards, but again, it is very minor. It really doesn't matter. I'd be very happy with either, to be honest. So the Air King has the vibrant green second hand as well, as you can see, contrasting nicely. This one is in fantastic condition. It has been worn very lightly, so if you were to sit here with a loupe and wipe away all my fingerprints, you will see a couple of scratches here and there, but to be honest, it's in very good condition, lightly worn. This is the reference 126900. And inside is the automatic Rolex caliber 3230. You can see original Rolex bracelet as well, which is nice and easy with the quick 5mm adjust that you can pop out and pop back in. All links are included as you'd expect. And this one is from May 2022 with its full box and paperwork as well. So you've got everything with it. But they show on wrist and taut dimensions. And there we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. It just works. It looks really good. So this is 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. There are endless options out there for straps. There's some companies that do specific fitted rubber straps, which do look pretty good. But for me, I would be wearing it on the bracelet and wearing this to death. For me, this Air King looks great once it's got some, you know, marks and scratches and it's got some wear to it. So hopefully whoever picks this up puts some wear into it and enjoys it just the same. So go check it out on the website today. All right, before we dive into some of the other watches, let's go over to the Brunswick Brown. Let's get that one out of the way. I'm going to be sad to see it go, but I'm sure it's going to go to a good place. And hopefully if that person ever decides they want to sell it in the future, they'll offer me first refusal. But let's have a look at the Brunswick Brown. So next up, my personal fears Brunswick Brown. Here it is. This is number 2 of 5 ever made, and it is in fantastic condition now because Fears were very kind and did a very gentle refinish to the case and just put all of the polish back in and all the lines, because I probably had the most worn Brunswick Brown of the 5, to be honest with you. So now you can pick this up and put your own marks into it and enjoy it all the same. Now, something to mention straight off the bat, we don't have any brown in the case back. Now, the brown from heavy wear unfortunately does start to come out. So during the polish we had it all taken out, and it's not a case of just refilling it with brown. It doesn't work like that. It'd have to be a whole new case back made with the brown put in during the process of engraving. So that's something to keep in mind. And it's also unfortunate, I think, but all of them eventually will have no brown in the case back. So do keep that in mind. This is how they're all eventually going to be. Yeah, so this is paired on its original goat's leather strap. This is a regular length, and it does come with the original Buffalo Nubuck bund strap. That is short length, and it comes with the Fears NATO. So it comes with all 3 straps. The NATO and this goat's leather are regular, and the bund is short. So do keep that in mind in terms of sizes. The reference to this one is the BS238008, and inside behind this caseback is a manually wound ETA 7001. This one's from April 2021 with its full box and paperwork, as you'd expect. And as I say, it is in now fantastic condition, ready to go. You can see the goat strap. I barely wore it on this strap. I actually wore it, as a lot of you know, on a Strap Tailor brown suede. So if you pick this up, I would highly recommend you also pick up the Strap Tailor brown suede because it suits it perfectly. And as I say, that's what I wore it on pretty much every day. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. This is actually the first time I've put it on since it's been back from polish, and yeah, I'm going to regret this one, but here we go. This is 38mm by 42mm lug to lug, 11.8, basically 12mm thick, and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options for swapping out. Fears have also introduced a bracelet, which I'd be very interested to see how this looks on it. So maybe that's something to pick up along with the watch as well, which we can obviously provide for you as we are the Fears stockist here in London. So go check this one out on the website today. From there to the Zenith Chronomaster original 38mm El Primero with the beautiful subdials. I absolutely, I can't even English with this one. I love this reference. I think it's fantastic. And in my opinion, one of the best modern Zeniths you can get. And yes, I said that. That's my opinion of this watch. So let's take a closer look. So as I said in the intro, my favorite modern Zenith reference. And it's probably no surprise because it's pretty much a direct replica of the original in 38mm. A really gorgeous example. You've got the 3 different color subdials, something very iconic of the El Primero, vibrant red secondhand, and you have even the original vintage typography in the El Primero, which I think is just really attractive. Date over there at 4:30, you know, I could have lived without it. It's not the end of the world, to be honest. Just like a couple of the other watches, I'm not going to bore you with the reference. It's a super long reference. You can see it on the website. But most importantly, beating away in size, the automatic Zenith El Primero caliber 3600, which obviously beats away at 36,000 vibrations an hour. As you can see, the crazy second hand going round. So you can measure more accurate timing. For me personally, it doesn't really bother me. I don't really run my chronos, so I probably wouldn't even notice it had that, to be honest, if I didn't do this for a living. You've got your original strap and deployment buckle, as you can see, all nicely signed, and this example is Full box and papers from November 2022. It is worn. There is a scratch there on the top lug, but other than that, to be honest, you're not really going to notice much else. It's been very lightly worn in a rotation of a collection. And as I say, the dimensions of this are so perfect. It wears so well, and this is one of those watches that looks great on the wrist, but it also looks great in photos. It photographs really nicely. Strap options there are endless. I like the one that it comes on. It's almost like a suede, to be honest, a very soft suede from Zenith, but to be honest, this looks good on anything. A brown suede especially suits this watch. So let's show on wrist and taut dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see proportionally it is perfect. So what you're looking at here is 38mm by 46mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 19mm on the lug. So yes, a little awkward, but at the end of the day, if you've got a watch this beautiful, you should hopefully be going to a pretty good strap maker anyway, rather than just something off the shelf and generic. But hey, to each their own. So go check this one out on the website today. Now let's get on to some grand Seikos. We have a awesome Lake Suwa edition right here, which is part of their anniversary pieces. A really incredible watch, a watch that sold out pretty much immediately. And I think we can all see why when you have a look at that dial. It really is fantastic. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, one of the most popular Grand Seikos we have seen in a while. This is the Grand Seiko Spring Drive 5-day Power Reserve Lake Suwa, as you can see with that dial. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a limited edition of 2021 pieces total, and you can see that dial is everything about this watch. Beautiful blue wave pattern, which just looks so good, with the Grand Seiko stated there proudly in gold. And those hands and indices, obviously Zaratsu finished, which is the finishing they do on samurai swords, which is what gives it this really great shine and just works so beautifully. Obviously date over there at 3 o'clock as well. Now the reference to this one is the SLGA007G, and as I say, limited to 2021 pieces. As we flip it over, you're presented with a nice exhibition case back with a Power Reserve stated on the back, which I think is a really nice touch, and personally I'm more of a fan of seeing them on the case back than on the dial as such. So this is the Spring Drive Grand Seiko Caliber 9RA2, which is a 5-day Power Reserve movement, which is just bonkers. This watch does compare on its original Grand Seiko bracelet with its lovely Grand Seiko medallion there on the clasp in gold, which just looks so good. All links are obviously included. And this is from December 2021 with its full box and paperwork as well. So let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. This one has great wrist presence. The bracelet doesn't really taper much, which again just adds to the heft of the watch. It feels a bit more bulky than your typical Grand Seiko, but still with all the elegance and refinement you'd expect from Grand Seiko. So this one is 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 11.5mm thick and 22mm lugs on the lugs right there. So as you can see, definitely wider than you'd come to expect traditionally from Grand Seiko, but it just looks so good on wrist, and again, super comfortable. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to the Seiko Spring Drive Snowflake, the classic in titanium, probably Grand Seiko's most iconic watch, I think that's fair to say. Let's take a closer look at this one. So next up is Snowflake time with the Grand Seiko Spring Drive Snowflake, as it's commonly known. This is probably Grand Seiko's most iconic watch, and we have been selling Snowflakes from pretty much day dot, really. We had some, obviously, back then, the older references where it was Seiko, Grand Seiko at the bottom. Now, obviously, Grand Seiko and Seiko are completely disconnected, and you just have Grand Seiko stated proudly on the dial at 12 o'clock. This features a really gorgeous textured dial. It's very hard to capture, but I'm sure you'll see some great macros on the website. You have a vibrant blue second hand, which just pops, Power Reserve stated right over there, and obviously a date as well. Now, this is titanium, the whole watch and the bracelet, which makes it incredibly light, incredibly comfortable, and also gives it a slightly different tone to stainless steel. It's slightly darker, so that's something to keep in mind, which I think is really cool. This is the SPGA 211G reference, and as you flip it over, being away through the exhibition case back, it's a beautifully decorated Grand Seiko Spring Drive Caliber 9R65, a spring drive movement they've been using for a little while in the Snowflake range. This one's from December 2022, does come with its full box and paperwork, all links included, and obviously the remainder of its manufacturer warranty as well. Being so close to 2023, you really are getting yourself an absolute steal with this reference. So let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here you go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. So again, slightly bigger really for the Grand Seiko cases, but in the titanium, you do not notice it at all. It is super comfortable. So what you're looking at is 40.5mm by 48.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes, which makes strap changing a breeze. And this on a leather strap also looks fantastic. So go check out this watch on the website today. Now on to my favourite watch that Grand Seiko make. This is the Grand Seiko Elegance GMT Automatic. This is easily my favourite Grand Seiko that they make, and I think if I was in a position of owning a Grand Seiko, a modern Grand Seiko that is, this would be my pick. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, as I said in the intro, one of my favourite Grand Seikos. This is the Grand Seiko Elegance GMT with the automatic movement, and the dial is so beautiful. It's like an eggshell off-white dial. It's not quite white, often referred to as cream, and I think it just works really well. You have that really bold blue GMT hand over there, the date over there at 3 o'clock. Again, for me, this is just so classy because you've got something very dressy with a very good and useful complication with the GMT. You know, the ability to track different time zones if you are traveling or whatever it may be. It is useful, and there's no question about that. So the reference of this one is the SBGM 211G, and inside, as we open this movement, is the automatic Grand Seiko Caliber 9S66. So that right there isn't a spring drive, that's a traditional Grand Seiko automatic, which I know for some of you, you're not a fan of the spring drive. Some of you, you'd only buy Grand Seiko if it's the spring drives, which I find quite interesting as well. But this right here is an automatic Grand Seiko movement. Paired on its original Grand Seiko strap with its original Grand Seiko deployant, which has the vintage style Grand Seiko script, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. And again, really harps back to a vintage design, which I think is really gorgeous. So this one's from February 2020 with its full box and paperwork, and is in very good condition. It has been worn, but to be honest, these I've never really seen look too bad. I've never really seen them heavily worn with loads of scratches. I don't know if they do something more hardened with the finish. I'm not too sure on that, but again, I've never really seen one battered. So this is another one that is in fantastic condition. So let's show on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. So what you're looking at is 39.5mm by 46.8, basically 47mm lug to lug, only 14mm thick and 19mm on the lug. So just like some of the other watches, a little bit awkward on that lug length, but not the end of the world. And Strap Tailor makes some fantastic straps which will fit this perfectly, and you have a push pin, a drilled lug hole to make strap changes a breeze as well. So go check out this one on the website today. From there, let's go over to a very surprising watch. This is the Breitling Navitimer automatic chronometer in 38mm. A very cool looking watch, and one that I really hadn't given much time to until we actually bought one, and I have to say, this has surprised me, especially the price point you can pick this up at compared to retail as well. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up is a surprising one for me. This is the Breitling Navitimer Chronometer 38mm automatic. And the reason it's surprising is because I remember when this watch was released, and to be honest, I didn't think much of it. I just thought, okay, they've released an automatic Navitimer, and that was it. But I was recently offered one, this one exactly, and I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. And I managed to buy it for the right price, which means I can therefore sell it to you guys for the right price as well, especially compared against what retail is. And this watch has blown me away. In person and on wrist, it is really, really nice. And I thought I wouldn't be a fan of the all polish because, again, that is quite bright. But you know what, on wrist, it's really not that bad. And my wife really loves it as well, Leah. She thinks it's great. So again, it's one of those watches that could very easily work for both him or for her or anyone else. It works really well. So the reference to this one is A1735241B1A1. Very long reference. And inside being away is the automatic Breitling Caliber 17. Just cut my nails, so getting that clasp open, there you go. Nice milled clasp and nice case back as well. And obviously, as I say, being away inside there is the automatic Breitling Caliber 17. Now this model's from November 2020. It does come with its full box and paperwork and spare links. Something to keep in mind, the way these Navitimer bracelets are constructed, there are screw ends and you basically have to like rebuild the bracelet. I'll be honest with you, it is an absolute faff. So if you want links putting in or taken out, and you've not come into the office for it to be done, I would highly recommend going to a Breitling shop if you can, because they will be able to do it a lot better because they do it every single day. But for anyone else, it is a bit of a faff. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, so do keep that in mind. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, the proportions are really perfect. It's super comfortable. and it looks really good. Yes, it's a bit on the shiny side, being all polished, but I kind of like it. I kind of really like it on wrist. So what you're looking at is 38mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 9.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug. So if this is a bit too shiny for you, put it away in the box and put a nice black leather strap on the watch and you're going to be set to go. So go check this one out on the website today. From there, let's go over to the Oris Aquis. This is the awesome New York Harbor edition with a very interesting dial. It's like a green mother of pearl. I think it's fantastic. Paired on its rubber strap, it does come with its bracelet. I think you guys and girls are going to really like this one because I certainly do. This is one that both me and my wife really like, so it's difficult not switching and swapping. But let's take a closer look at this one. So what we have next is the Oris Aquis. This is the New York Harbor limited edition of 2,000 pieces. A really, really cool looking watch. What you're looking at right there is like a green mother of pearl shell dial. Really interesting. I think it just really pops, especially with the steel bezel. Reminds me a bit of a Yachtmaster. And you've got it paired on this very nice green Oris rubber strap. And the bracelet, the Oris bracelet is included as well. So it comes with both options, which I think is really, really cool. Obviously screw down crown as well. Date down there at 6 o'clock. And as we flip it over and open up the watch, what you're seeing right there is a nice engraved case back with the Harbor logo right there. All the limited edition details, and beating away inside is the automatic Oris caliber 733, which is essentially a Sellita SW200. Nice deployment buckle as well, as you can see, which can be cut down to fit more accurately on your wrist if you'd like to do so. This hasn't been cut yet. And obviously you can adjust via this as well, so you don't have to cut this. However, if you want a more accurate fit and a more central fit, it gives you the option, which I think is a nice thing for them to do. I won't bore you with the reference to this one, you can see it on the website. But yeah, this one's from December 2022 with its box and paperwork, and that is one bloody cool dial. I really like it. I'm surprised how much I like it, to be honest. I thought when I first heard about the dial and saw the dial in photos, I thought there's no way I'm going to like that. But on wrist and in person, it is really, really nice. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, on my 7-inch wrist. You can see the 41mm is perfect. I think the smaller one is a bit too small for me, to be honest. But this size wears really nicely. This is 41mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 10.5mm in between the gap there, obviously coming out and tapering down to the clasp. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to a surprisingly discontinued Tag Heuer Autavia with the beautiful blacky grey dial. Yeah, I can't believe they discontinued this model. This one comes on its bracelet, it has its original leather strap and a NATO strap as well. All Tag Heuer sign, and this is a complete set. Priced at a bargain, to be honest. I think you guys and girls are going to snap this one up pretty quick. So let's take a closer look at this one. So a modern Tag Heuer that I think is really, really cool and actually looks great on the wrist. It's on the slightly bigger side, but again, I think it works really well. So this is the Tag Heuer Autavia with the grey sort of textured-y black dial, and you've got the nice bold black bezel, which kind of looks like a vintage Bakelite bezel, to be honest with you. You've got the date down there at 6 o'clock, and they have discontinued this dial colour, which I find very surprising. So the reference to this one is the WBE5114.EB0173. You can see it's paired on its original Tag Heuer bracelet with its Tag Heuer logo right there. As we flip it open, a nice case back design right there, obviously harping back to the original Autavia days of aviation, which I think is fantastic. And inside is the automatic Tag Heuer Caliber 5, which is actually chronometer spec as well, which is really, really cool. This one's from September 2022 with its box and paperwork, and this is a quick release bracelet, as you can see, to swap out. It also comes with this brown quick release Tag Heuer strap and an original Tag Heuer NATO as well. So you're getting 3 Tag Heuer straps with the bracelet. Obviously a part of that 3, which I think is great value for money again, especially when you see what we're asking for this with the best price out there by quite a long shot. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, paired comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. Yes, it's on the bigger side, but you know what? It's totally wearable, and I actually think it's really comfortable. So this is 42mm by 50.5mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 21mm on the lugs, which is a little bit awkward, but you're coming already with a bracelet, a leather strap, and a NATO. So I think you're pretty much set with those 3 options. So go check this one out on the website today. And last but by no means least, one of the latest ones from Steinhart, that is the Ocean 39 Adventure, which is basically an explorer Explorer 1 homage in the 39mm. They've done a pretty good job of it, and again, it's priced to match at what we're asking, £350. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think for a proper Solita ETA movement from Steinhart that's built like a tank, you really cannot go wrong at that price point. So let's take a closer look at that one. So here we go, the final watch of episode 100. This is the Steinhart Ocean 39 Adventure Automatic, as you can see. So this is perfect if you really like the Explorer 1 and either can't afford it or don't want to spend that kind of money on one, or just don't want the risk. You know, if this was stolen, you're just going to hand it over and not worry too much, to be honest. But whatever the reason may be, this is perfect if you love the design and want it on a far more affordable budget. As I said in the intro, and we don't usually talk prices, but I'm fine with certain watches. At £350, this is ridiculous what you're getting. You're getting that Explorer design with the luminous Mercedes hands, the luminous dial, very much the Mark II of the Explorer 1, the 124270, I think is the reference off the top of my head. And sorry, 214270. And what you're looking at inside is an automatic ETA 2824 or a Solita SW200 behind that very nicely decorated case back right there, as you can see. Now that is its original Steinhart bracelet with a fold over and a fold over, as you can see, with a Steinhart. You've got adjustments on the clasp to make a comfortable fit and nice solid screw link design with plenty of spare links as well. This one's from December 2022 with its box and paperwork, and as I say, priced so fairly for what you're getting. So let's show it on wrist and tour dimension. And there we go, on my 7-inch wrist. Very true to proportions, very comfortable. It's not as curved in terms of the case as the Explorer obviously is. This is a bit more straight, but still very comfortable. So this is 39mm by 47mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug, so you could swap it out for a strap if you so wish, but I'd personally keep it on the bracelet. It's very comfortable. So go check out this one on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. Episode 100, 12 incredible watches from something we've never really quite had before, like an Offshore, all the way to stuff you've seen with us before and stuff we've actually had before, and I think really great offerings, and there really is something for everyone here, and I tried to make it as such. So I hope you guys and girls really enjoyed this episode. I certainly enjoyed making this happen, and again, the next week we already have that drop pretty much done. It's looking incredible as well. I think there's going to be something for everyone in that as well. A little bit on the lower side of the price point compared to this, and some very affordable pieces as well. And the following drop we're already working on as well. So it's all hands on deck at the moment. It's super busy here. So I want to thank you guys and girls for keeping it that way. So yeah, we'll see you all again next time for episode 101. How crazy. We'll see you then. Take care.